What's good, people? So camping through Iceland, as I recently found out, is probably the most fun and efficient way to see the country. And in this video, I'm gonna give you a bunch of tips on how to do it, especially in the winter. First, consider a camper van. It is so easy to camp when you have a van that has a bunch of things that make your life easier, especially if you're not a big camper like I am. They come with stoves, they come with a heater, they come with a little refrigerator. There are a ton of companies around that have them, and this will make your trip just so much easier. Next, make sure that you have the best possible insurance, whether you get a van or a car, and that's because Iceland has a very unique landscape and very unique climate in the sense that anything could happen at any moment. You have crazy wind gusts that can blow your door open. You got crazy sandstorms that could really chip the paint off of your car. As we were going down a highway, we saw a bunch of signs that had just the paint chipped off because of rocks just smacking it. So make sure that you have the best possible insurance to make sure that you're protected from any sort of damage. It costs a little bit more upfront, but at least you have that peace of mind knowing that you won't come out of pocket too much for that damage that happened. Next, make sure that you have enough food, and if you like alcohol, make sure that you have enough beer. And as far as the beer, it is much better for you to buy it at duty free because it's cheaper. And in Iceland, you can't buy beer just anywhere. It has to be in designated spots. Supermarkets don't sell beer, so just keep that in mind. Just make sure that you buy enough at duty free to last you as long as you need it to.
We're trying to see if we can stretch this pasta for what, 2 days?
And in terms of food, make sure that you buy enough when you get there because there may not be a supermarket wherever you run out of food. So protect yourself by making sure that you buy enough food for the length of the trip that you're going for. This is a very important tip. Plan your route before you get there because not all campgrounds are open in the winter. And you can't just be camping anywhere. You have to go to designated campgrounds unless you have permission from anyone who owns the land that you're camping on to camp on. But just make sure that wherever you go, that the campgrounds are open. I'll put a link to the description of a bunch of campsites that are open in the winter. But even though they say that they're open, sometimes they're not open. When we got to this town, Hafen, we went to this campground, and when we got there, it was closed and we didn't know what to do. So we had to, let's just say, improvise to shower in the morning. It was crazy. There are a ton of amazing sights and scenery to see, so make sure that you plan your route around those and campgrounds that are open to make it easier for you to get to your campground at night. Another thing that I messed up on was not bringing enough money for the showers. A lot of the showers were coin operated. I had enough money, but I didn't have enough coins to feed the shower. So make sure that you have enough coins. Just carry 100 corner denominations and you'll be okay. Also, be careful with speeding. Number one, you don't want to speed in Iceland in the winter. The roads are literally covered with a bunch of ice. You can veer off the road. It's very dangerous. So you don't want to speed to begin with. Especially in tunnels, be careful. There are cameras that will take pictures of you if you're speeding. And the speeding tickets in Iceland are very, very expensive. So be very careful. You do not want to get caught speeding. In terms of clothes, two things: layer up and make sure that you have some good waterproof boots. It was pretty cold in the winter, obviously, and what I had on was a nice thin bubble jacket, a hoodie, a thermal, and a t-shirt underneath, and I was pretty good. And as far as my pants, I had some windproof pants on that had a little thermal lining, and underneath I had thermals. As far as socks, make sure that you have wool socks because they dry quick and they keep you warm. Another thing is to be mindful of the season and the amount of daylight that you're gonna get. I went in January and there was only 4.5 to 5 hours of daylight during the day, and that really limited what we can see and where we should travel to. So be realistic about what you wanna see, set priorities, and be prepared for things to change because the weather is crazy and sometimes that affects what you can get to and what you can't get to because sometimes roads may be closed. Just be mindful of that and don't plan more than, say, 2 or 3 things to do throughout the day because you may not get to all of those things and you may be bummed out. That's just how it is, so don't be disappointed when the weather just throws a curveball at you. And about the weather, inclement weather can really screw up your plans big time. Weather is what really dictates what you're able to do. Next thing, the Aurora. A lot of people go to Iceland in the winter for a better chance of seeing the Aurora, and even then the chances of seeing it are 50-50. We got lucky and saw it 3 nights in a row, which is insane, and it was just an amazing show. That said, be prepared to be disappointed. It's not guaranteed that you're gonna see it. Just cross your fingers and hope that you do. Next, make sure that you wake up early. I know that jet lag is crazy, especially if you're coming from like the States, but it's very essential that you take advantage of all that daylight because it's very precious and you need that to see this beautiful scenery. So please make sure you wake up early. I woke up late in a couple of times and really threw away a couple of hours of daylight. That's not good. So just make sure you wake up early.
So here's a good tip. Don't forget about these hand and toe warmers. They will save your freaking life.
Next, make sure that you sit down and you think about everything that you're bringing, and everything has to have a purpose because A, you won't have a lot of space in the van or your car, and you don't want to be lugging all that stuff around anyway. So just make sure that you have essential stuff like body wipes, a headlamp. It's very important that you have good lighting, especially at night. And a headlamp is great because it leaves your hands free in case you slip or you fall, and it just allows you to do things while you have light. So make sure you bring a headlamp. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And if I left any tips that you might think is helpful for other people, please leave it in the comments. And by the way, if you like this sweater, you can get one too by hitting up my homegirl Iran. I'll leave the contact information in the description. You'll love it, so hit her up. I wish I had another one of these so I could have been styling in Iceland. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.